So far, so good. At the moment, we are just trying to format our dashboard and make it look a little organized.
It look amazing.
Yes. Make it look amazing.
We cannot, this one that you did not record yesterday, what are you going to do? Some
Even
of us
that yesterday, we didn't record much. The small recording we did, I've uploaded it, recorded maybe, I don't know, maybe 1 minute or 2. Owó tó bẹ́ẹ̀ kò jóná.
Expectation is plenty.
Okay. So, I mean, all we've done so far, yesterday, we just came in here and looked at how to arrange and format this. And also to give it nice colors that would depict what it is meant for. For total casualties, we went red, white on red background, because we are talking about accidents. So these are the total casualties. Then in defining the severity, for those that are very fatal, we went red again. For those that are serious, we did deep amber. And for those that are not very serious, we've done that something that looks like olive green, sort of. So then we talked about this map. We changed the map to, no, actually we haven't changed it. It's the same map that we have. You know, we are talking about how, I don't think I've done, I think I'm not doing something right enough for us to pick, to give us exactly what it is that we need. Although having said that, there's quite a lot of locations. We are trying to showcase all these locations. Yeah, all this latitude, like 300,000 rows, over 300,000 rows is what we loaded of this data. And I believe that's what's trying to show here after we've put in the values for the latitude and the longitude. Also, now this was what I was looking for yesterday. Remember that I was giving us average yesterday. And there was no don't summarize. Now it has put it on don't summarize, because latitudes and longitudes, they are numbers, but they are not numbers that we add or subtract or aggregates in any way. They are numbers that are unique, such that a particular latitude would mark to a particular longitude and give us a location. Okay, so those locations have been plotted in the way of all these bubbles that we see. Now, what should determine the bubble size for each of these locations is the total casualty. Okay, that's what should determine the bubble size. Okay, so for a particular location, if the casualties are massive, then you would have you would have a corresponding size of bubble. But it's not highlighted well because there's so many locations within the same cluster that we can see here. And I believe we tried to narrow it down. So we said to filter, maybe to filter by top 10. Let me drag in. I'm looking for a way to reduce the number of bubbles we have there. So local authority, what's happening here? Top, okay. We can't do local authority. Okay, top and top one. Let's do top 10. I believe we've done this before and it didn't really change much. Okay, that looks a little better. Okay, so we've dragged in local authority and we've said that we want top 10 in terms of total casualties. It's asking for top N, and we put the N to be 10. And it's saying here by value, by what value should we arrange the top this, top that? Number one, in terms of, is it total casualties or any other metric? And the only metric we have is total casualties. You know, we could also use number of accidents, but yeah, total casualties. And you see how those number of bubbles reduced, okay? So we don't have that many clusters anymore. If I hover on this one where it says latitude, this longitude, that, then we have total casualties as 4. Okay, now that's not very informative. Just looking at the latitude and longitude doesn't tell a layman where exactly that location is. Okay, so we may need to put in more in terms of giving it a name, not just by latitude. So where it says location here, if I drag in local authority, let's see what that would do. So if I drag in local authority here, that did not work. Remove location to display latitude and longitude pairs. Alternatively, you can keep location and see the aggregate for latitude to average. No, I don't want to do that. Alternatively, you can keep location and set the aggregates for latitude and longitude. Okay, let me do that. What it has advised and see if that will work. If I change this to average and this to average because I want to have local authority there. Okay, okay. So just so that we can display the area exactly, it advised to change the latitudes to average. And we can see, let me expand this a little, just so that the bubbles, the way we see them, makes a bit of more sense than what we can see now. Okay. So, and the bubbles are not very obvious because it's blue on blue. So if I look for another color, one thing I want us to observe is this, there's different sizes to the bubbles. For here, this is Cornwall, and it says there's 3,820 total casualties compared to where the bubble looks bigger here. In Birmingham, we have 8,611. Okay, so by their bubble sizes, we shall know them. But if we go into the paintbrush and just work on the bubbles, range scaling, let's look at what magnitude or data range. Let me see how that changes anything. If I say magnitude, if I do that, okay. So it just makes it more obvious for us. Okay. So, but if we use data range, okay, so whatever works well, I think magnitude is a good one to use in terms of scaling. It says range scaling. Scale it. You want to scale how massive you want the bubbles to look. You know, range color at the moment. we have this color here. So if we decide to pick one of the accident colors that we've used so far, this is one. I think that looks more obvious. You know, some people would use a heat map instead of the bubbles, but I think I prefer the bubbles. Okay, so that's if we are considering top 20, top 10. How about if we say top 15 to see if we can display a bit more? Okay, so that gave us uh, a bit more bubbles to look at. Okay, there's a lot that we can do with these category labels. Okay, that would be too much. It's just labeling the locations on top of the bubbles. That won't really work well for us. Okay, we can change that title. It's too long, so we don't have to have average latitude, longitude, all of that. We can just say total casualties by local authority. I think that's enough. We can reduce it a little and place it in the middle to align in the middle. Okay, and the color is black already. So what size did we give this? So let's give it 12, size 12 as well. Okay. If I'm making all of the titles boldened, then it's good to bolden every one of them and not leave some bold and the rest on bold. Okay. That looks different from the rest. And this should be 12. Okay. If I save that, I'm still looking at this bubble and I'm thinking that we can do better with that color. What do you think about this color?
It's too dull.
It's too dull.
Other one.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, this one, it doesn't have to be. How about something like this?
I think the previous one is better.
The very first one, yeah. Is it this one?
Yes.
Okay. So we were talking about these blues as well. Okay. So maybe background or not background, the columns, we can change the color blue from that blue to something else. Vehicle type. Let me do the formatting of these first, and then why is it not picking? And then we can decide to change that color. So this is by a road surface. Is there a particular color that we can use to denote road surface? What's the best color that describes road surface? Let's go by colors that are obvious.
It's a green on the motorway.
Green, be gray.
Gray.
Gray, okay. So let's use gray then.
It depends on the gray.
How about this one? That's true.
Yeah.
That looks better, doesn't it?
Yes, madam. Yeah.
Okay.
That's quota color.
Yes. So that goes with road color. How about vehicle type? This is a dicey one because vehicles can be any color. So should we leave this as this, or what's the most common color of cars?
White,
Gray.
gray, that's metallic gray. So
Metallic gray, Abby.
yes,
Gray, black, wine.
black.
Red.
Yes.
Let's see if we can. Metallic gray. Or wine.
Let's just go for black. Black is quite common.
Black is common. Black cars are quite sexy as well.
Is it sexy? To me, it's not.
It looks sexy to me.
That's the color of your car.
No, mine is it's not a color that I am very, very proud of anymore.
You just bought the one that was available.
I just went for the one that, I love odd colors.
So what
Colors
is your
like
color?
army green, colors that,
Wow.
even if it's gray, it won't be in the league of common grays. It would be something so off somehow that you'll be thinking, wow, look, I don't know why colors like that appeal to me, but yes, that's what you will find me buying. But I'm in the league of greens, any green shade, not the light ones. Did we say we should put border for this? We put border for these ones. They haven't done anything to this page. Okay, we are getting there gradually. Okay, for month and year, what should we do with month and year? Let me first adjust some things first. Month and year. If we go into the legend and remove that year title, because anybody that sees 2021, 2022 knows that it's year already. Okay. And then if we go into the x-axis, okay, that is fine. We go into the y-axis. I think that's also fine in terms of the value. Okay, I've removed. Why did I remove the values for y again? Can we afford to have data label in this one? I don't think so. I think having the y value is better in this case because it will be too jam-packed. There's too many bars here. So I'll leave that alone. You can remove that grid line and make it clean. I don't like seeing grid lines. Those tiny dots that are almost not there, but they are there. We can take it off. Now, the color of our bars now is what we need to decide. So columns for 2021. Let me see what we've done in the past. Okay. For 2021, if we change 2021 to this and 2022 to this, what do we think?
I don't know, maybe I'm a blue fan.
Blue fan, okay. You
Mm.
prefer the blue?
I prefer the blue. The one was there before was pretty enough.
Okay, so okay, actually, because we have blue on the map. So because we don't want colors rioting.
Okay.
That's what we are trying to guide against. That's not what was there before.
What was calm.
It was dark. We had that's not nice. That's blending everything together now.
The two are too close.
Too close. If we do this, I don't know why it's looking faded. Okay. And then 21. Maybe if we can see the background color of that one. Something in this region. This color go is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
This background color here. So they will complement each other. Let me see if I can find the color here. Effects. Oh, it's not there because it's just showing white, nothing more. Where else could it be? Bubbles, legend. If I put we don't have legend. It looks like the blue background of this is fixed like that. There's not much we can do about it. Not much that can be done.
It's the water scheme.
Okay, I
That
think we
water
can.
scheme.
Which one?
The one on the map. To change.
Yeah, I was playing with the map setting. So we can actually change
Exactly.
the kind of setting we want. Dark, light, grayscale, road. This was one we had before. Which one goes well with our theme? Out
This
of all
red
of
one.
the red one, which
Road.
one? Road. The one we had initially, this one. Okay. Okay. So we'll leave that like that. We'll need a title. So maybe if I insert a shape here and the top here. And we call it, we can fill it up, the fill under shape here. We can decide to do style. Let's change the color to something like that and have a white writing. So we can insert a text box to write in it. If I write road, okay, actually, let's use accident analysis. Okay. If I look at the width of this, properties, 49,129.80. You can copy that here. 49,129.80. 49,129.80 to 980. Okay, that's not so great. Actually, let's change the font. It's like me and this font, we will never agree. Anywhere I see it, I'm always changing it. We can have 20. Let's see how that works for us. Okay. So we are covering that up, but not for long. You can have it in the middle. Okay. So if we go into properties again, if we look for the background, effects, background, if we make the background transparent so that the background is gone, and we can use a white font instead of black so that it shows. So if we have that, what do we think? Does that align with what we have, or is out of place? Let's have your thoughts.
On what part now?
The one on top that we just did.
The road, the heading.
Yes, the heading.
Road accident analysis.
I think the heading is too dull.
It's dull.
Yes. Should we use black for the words?
For the words, we use black. And then for the
It blended so much with the background. It was black before.
yes, when we had black, it went straight.
No.
Oh,
No, I've said it.
it went straight like
And
that. Except we want to change the
we
background.
check the background.
Might have to change the background.
So we change the
Let's see
background.
white and black.
White and black. Okay.
Let's see.
So in that case, if we go back and remove the transparency, so we have that. Is this what we want?
No. It's
Okay.
boring.
Can we do blue?
It's boring. What if let's see how this works. What if we do 50% transparency like this? Or if we want blue background, are we talking about which shade of blue now should we go for?
The map,
That map shade.
Yeah. That road.
Let's look for it. Style. This is closest to it, I believe. Yes. It's quite close. Okay. So I think this captures it a little.
It's better.
It's better, yeah?
It will suffice.
Okay. So I think our visuals are aligned well where they need to meet each other. They are well aligned. So we are looking at, if we are to explain this now as in terms of data storytelling, let's see how it works. We are saying that we've had 417,000 822 total casualties in the year 2021 and 2022 reports that we've had. And in terms of severity, the 84% of them are not as slight. I mean, the use of the word slight here could be changed. What does slight mean? So maybe not too serious is the best word, slight. Maybe they just escaped with very minor injuries. So maybe slight can be changed to minor injuries. Okay. But we can see that 84%, more than 84% had minor injuries. And we have fatal ones, as well, where almost 2% are fatal, and about 14% are serious cases, of the casualties. In terms of the road conditions, the most accident happened in dry conditions, okay, which is quite surprising, because you would have thought that most accidents will happen in conditions where that's harsh, like wet, when there's rain and the road is slippery, especially frost and ice and snow, But again, maybe because most of the condition that we drive in is mostly dry. It's the amount of wet days that we have compared to dry days or snowy days are not that many. Maybe that can explain why we have most accidents during dry conditions, And most of the accidents involved cars, considering the fact that we have more people using cars than the rest of the type of vehicles. In one household, you could have 3, 4, 5 cars, depends on how many car drivers, are there. And in one household, it's very possible not to have any van. Higher chances that you would have cars. So it's quite understandable that we've got that much disparity between cars and the rest of the types of vehicles, okay? By location or local authority, it would look like we're looking at the top 10. Okay, that should now, top 10 or top 15, that should be reflected in the title. I've just put total casualties by local authority, but we can go in and let them know actually that we are looking at only the top 15. So maybe I'll put top 15 in bracket. I'll remove that district, local authorities, so that it's not too massive. And I'll put top 15. That reflects better what we are looking at. Okay. So from top 15 local authorities with the highest casualties, we can see, and if we look at the bubble, this looks like the highest local authority that's the mass by the bubble size. This looks like it's the highest, but I may be wrong. We've got a few overlappings happening here. So if we use our tooltip, that says 5,000. This is 8,000 over. So yes, I'm right. We have the highest from Birmingham, 8,611 casualties within those 2 years have been recorded in Birmingham, And if I click on that particular one, of course, we see that is right. Okay. Then we look at how fatal or how serious the condition, the severity are. I can't really see much here. So maybe it's best to edit interaction. Okay, so I'll edit interaction. So like if I do that, I would only see the actual number, not highlights. I think we've talked about that in one of our classes before. Okay. And then we look at comparing year 2021 and 2022, same period, we see across board of each of the months, we had more casualties in 2021 than we've had in 2022. So there's been an improvement. What's responsible for the improvement? It will be good to know so that there can be further improvement in the years after 2022. Okay. When I say edit interaction, maybe if I want to use this to filter the rest, and I want the answer it gives me to be very obvious, I will just click on this and come into format. Under format, we have edit interactions. And this is me trying to specify how I want the filtering to happen. Okay, so immediately I click that, we can see there's this funnel, which means filter, and there's this one, which means highlight. When I clicked earlier, what we saw was highlight. It's trying to highlight, make the answer you need to be the darker one, while the answer that is not to be the gray one. But I'll prefer filter. If I do filter here and filter here as well, and maybe for this one, filter and, why is this one giving me filter and filter? I was expecting filter and highlights, but it's all filter on this one. Okay, and on this,
we have two shapes. Maybe it's speaking something from the top, because we're supposed to have two filters on.
Yes, it's strange, but we don't have to show. I see where that comes from. It's from, is it
the
though?
top shape?
The top,
Yeah.
this one. Okay. Okay, so with the ones I've picked so far, if I then say, okay, if I pick on this, you see, now we can easily see how much severity falls on that slide. For that Birmingham, we see 7,000, over 7,000 is slight, and 990 casualties is serious, 11.5% is serious, while the fatal ones, fatal is about 102 casualties are very fatal. So about over 1% for Birmingham. Okay. So unlike what was shown before that we couldn't really see because it was showing the highlights. Okay. The same goes for this as well. I use filter. So that way it's bringing only the results, for Birmingham and totally removing any other city. Now, this one remains highlighted, but we can see the darker part, the below darker part. That's where your answer is for Birmingham. Okay, that one is not very obvious. Again, the really bottom darker parts here, which are very tiny, are the actual results, that are for Birmingham. Okay, if I decide to use this filter instead, we see the actual result, for Birmingham. Okay, instead of it being highlighted at the bottom of the whole, it just brings us the actual result. And we can see about 400 in January of 21 and about 300 thereabout in January of 2022. So there's a decline. However, it's not that straightforward. Across board, we saw that 2021 was more in casualty than 2022. But while we're on just Birmingham, we see a difference when we are comparing the months in those years. Okay, fine. 2021 January was far more than 22. But in February, we've got more happening in 22, in February, March, April, April, maybe June, okay. Those years recorded more casualties in the later year than the previous, okay. So the result is staggered for Bamia, is what we can see there, okay. So if I click that back, we are back to our, so we are no longer looking at just Birmingham, we are looking at everybody. So that's how that goes, as per telling the story of it. Okay. Normally I would have a slicer at the top somewhere there. You see, we can decide to slice. I see that we haven't really been using slicers in our, but we can decide to, instead of using the bubbles, to dissect, we can decide to have our slicer here. So if I pick a slicer and we put the local authorities, maybe by the corner there, we decide to put local authorities from here. Yeah, local authorities. Okay, that way we can decide to see the results by, in Aberdeen, we can see 499 there. You see, is the total casualty, and we see how that works in Aberdeenshire. Okay, we can see, and you see now we have one bubble because we are looking at one location per time. That's why it's only one bubble you are seeing within your map. Then we have a door, wherever that is. Okay, so if you are building this report for different, let's say you are working in the headquarters and you have to customize this report for each local authority to only be able to view their own. You don't want them to have access to the results of other people's, so Aberdeen City, when they open this report, they can only see Aberdeen City. London can only see London when they open this report. Then we can decide to bring in what we call the security, row level security. Okay, we can decide to do that. Let me just format this. For the sake of space, I'll go into the setting and I will change that to drop down instead of vertical list. So we change that to drop down. That way you can just use the drop down to pick. Okay, there's more that we can do with that. We can, the color.
We should reduce one of our would I say shapes on the dashboard so that you can find space for this slicer.
Okay, how about if I align this to the left and bring the
that's also an option.
Yeah, and then we can bring the slicer
in
more to the center like that. Okay, we can also decide to expand this a little.
Okay,
that way. I hate it when, if we expand that a little,
so that we will even know that it's there. Centralizing it there, it's looking somehow.
But actually, is it not always better to have the heading centralized, and maybe we now reduce this total casualty, the text box, we reduce the size.
This one?
Yes.
Yes, we can. It's not compulsory that this one would be centralized. It's nice.
Okay.
Nice, but it's not compulsory. We do what works as you are arranging and arranging. You just do what you feel works at that time. Okay, but yes, in the end, we can just reduce the sizes, the height of this one, so that that slicer has, you know, that
Yes.
slicer has a good home, because
You know, when we
an
were,
important part of yeah.
okay, when we were doing edit interaction and you you allow some to filter and froze the other, and you froze the map.
Yeah.
So when we were introducing the slicer, did you unfreeze the map or the other edit interactions, or the slicer does not take cognizance of earlier freezing? It just interacts with everything.
Yes, the slicer interacts with everything unless you condition it not to. For example, now I can be on the slicer. If I don't want it to filter any visual here, I'll still go back into the edit interaction while I'm picking it, edit interaction. And maybe I don't want it to filter this. I want this to always show as the total. Okay, I'll say none, and the rest I'll say I'll pick what I need, for the rest. So if I then come here and decide to filter for Aberdeenshire, the rest would, because I haven't removed, I've not said don't filter for the rest. I only did that for this. You see, this number remains despite the fact that I've picked that, and the rest are just naturally filtering. So if your model is done right, immediately you bring your slicer in, it just starts to filter no matter what you have done before with your visuals. Okay, so but then you can conform it to, okay, I don't want this to be filtered, or I want this to be filtered in a certain way. Okay, for example, now this map, because it's just showing one dot at a time each time I'm filtering, I may decide that, okay, just leave the map alone. Okay, it's not changing anything for the map for me, so I'll leave it alone. Okay, so both map and the card visual I can decide that they shouldn't be filtered while I see the information, for the rest of the visuals. Okay. So, but yes, we can reduce this further still. It will be nice to have this directly below this. All the fiddling and fiddling, they can really chop your time. Wow. Who asked this one to have sometimes this thing just does what I did not say. Who asked it to do data label on
data labeling?
So that's adjusted. Let's see if we can, yeah, bring this down a little. Bring this down a little as well. Okay. Yeah. Maybe this as well, so that it's aligned. This can be yeah, like that. And that's sort of
that creates a space.
Yes, gives us better space, and this can go back up.
Another question.
Yes.
The text box.
Yeah.
Can't we just have a single text box without the shape?
No, the shape is no longer necessary actually.
Aha.
Yeah, we can. Because you can just color
is it not the shape that is giving us this, that's bringing this
the color?
No. This down area plus value and all that, or is it the text box?
It's the text box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's where you can highlight and change the font and what have you. But if we remove that shape that's below, we'll be fine. So if I delete that now, we have this, and we can just color this with the color that was there. the background color now is what we'll just come here under properties, I believe, effects. And then we choose that color, effects, background. You see. So that shape was just, it didn't really add any value at the end of the day. Sometimes it's just good if you want to do some rishi with colors. Maybe you want to place a color on top of another and give some kind of effects. Then you can do that. Okay, but if not, there's no need for it. Let's try and announce this slicer that it is there a little. Maybe the slicer heading, the header is on. So, okay, that works well. Maybe the background, maybe we give it border. I think it's got border already. Maybe increase the width of the border. So I have some line around it. It's the background. If I do that, would that be too much, or should we leave it as white? And we can increase the size of it from here to here already. Okay. Well, yeah. I think this page is fine.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. This page we have not touched at all. I think this page is also to some extent all right. The only thing is just to reduce this a little and have maybe a text box at the top there that gives us some information on the page top there, like we have here for the primary KPIs. Okay. And of course, we'll put the name, by accident severity.
There are three pages already.
Yes, we've done 3 pages. Accident severity is all that's showing here. So we might as well give it that. And the text box here will showcase that it's accident severity, as well. So maybe tomorrow we can look at what we are doing with these ones. And that will be all for this project, I believe. Except we have any further questions on them.
Can you go to accident severity? Let me look at what is there.
Yeah.
The accident severity page.
Yeah. There we go. So this one is showing us severity in terms of severity as well as vehicle type. So we are looking at severity in terms of vehicle type, the percentage of it. So we've used these 100% stacked column, and we can see that for cars, the very tiny red there is the percentage of the fatal ones. The next is serious, and the rest is the slight. So by the height of each one, we can see out of the whole bar is 100%. We can see what percent each of the severities have for each vehicle type. So we've showcased that as, this was on yesterday. We've showcased that as this visual for those that like to look at percentages and visual as well. We've also shown the same thing in a matrix table. So, but this time we are showing them as numbers. Some people like to see the actual number. So we see that the total casualty for cars is 325,921. Out of that, we have fatal as 5,617. Serious has 46,070, and Slight has 274,234, which is what is showcased here. The Slight is the maximum missed, of the percentages, and then followed by the serious and then the fatal. Okay. So the same information was showed for different stakeholders. Some like to consume this, they will find it easier. Some prefer to see this because they want to actually see the numbers and not percentages. So they are both catered for those two classes of stakeholders. But basically it's the same thing, And this happened because we reread this question here. Where is the requirement? This question here that says top casualties and percentage of total with respect to accident severity and vehicle type, okay? Says percentage of the total. That's why it was necessary to use this, because each one of these is a percentage of the total bar. 84% of the total car casualties are Slight. So, and we can see across board that most of them have escaped with minor injuries, basically. Horse riding ones, they are 100% minor bruises. You see, so
why is it that car, for instance, the total is 100%, right?
for
We have
each,
84, yes, we have 84%
yeah,
showing Slight.
yeah.
Now the remaining, which is supposed to be 16, why is it not reflecting?
Sometimes it's just the size of the bar. The size of the visual is what I meant to say. Maybe if I expand this more, we could be
Okay.
seeing more.
Oh,
Okay.
true.
So the ones that are 16% are easily showing. But anything below that, at the height I put it, was not going to show.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You are welcome. But yeah, that's a good question. So maybe because you get people asking you that particular question actually. So maybe instead of we can make that happen and not disturb them by rearranging. It's all about arrangement, isn't it?
Kukuma answered their question before it come up.
Before it comes up, exactly. So if we decide to squinch, no, that's not. I was gonna do this, but it looks like even that is not best.
It's small.
No, what we had before is all right.
It's all right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all there's not much we are, okay. Yeah, but this is fine. I think that's all we are going to be doing for tonight.
The table did not follow that stretch that you did.
This one.
Mm.
It's me and because I'm not using my mouse.
Oh.
I'm using hand, so it's me and the hand struggling to drag. But yeah.
Okay. It is good.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna upload this so that we have space for tomorrow's recording.
Sadabi, okay. I will try and see if I can do it.
Okay.
Otherwise.
No, otherwise, so you can do it. You can do it in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Receive strength. Receive strength to do it.
Try.
Yes, so all right. I think we can go and have a good rest now.
Thank
A
you.
well-deserved rest.
Estemo.